Welcome, everyone. Ready to dive into the world of AI and journalism. It seems like every day there's a new headline about how AI is transforming the news industry.
Absolutely, and it's not just hype.
Right, and the stuff you send over, it really shows just how much AI is already being used by news organizations, big and small.
Yeah, we see examples from tiny independent publications all the way up to giants like the Associated Press. It's pretty amazing.
It is. So let's get right into it. What are some of the most interesting ways AI is being used in journalism right now?
Well, one area that's really taken off is generative AI.
Ah, generative AI, the stuff that can write articles and create images, right?
Exactly. And one fascinating example is Alter AI.
Okay, Yolter AI, tell me more.
So imagine having this AI assistant that can summarize super complex articles for you, pull out the key takeaways, even create timelines of events.
Wow, so it's like a super-powered Cliff's Notes for the news.
That's a great way to put it. And the Argentinian newspaper Clarín is actually using Yolter AI right now to make dense news more digestible for their readers.
That's really interesting. I wonder, does this change how journalists write, knowing that their audience might be getting the gist from an AI summary?
It's a good question, and I think it's something journalists are grappling with. It might mean they focus more on providing deeper analysis and context, leaving the basic summary to the AI.
That makes sense. And speaking of big names, the Associated Press is using AI to generate those short reports on company earnings, the kind of stuff that's usually data heavy.
Right, and traditionally that was a task for human reporters. But think about it this way. AI can handle those routine reports with incredible speed and accuracy.
So it frees up the human journalists to do what they do best.
Exactly. They could focus on more in-depth reporting, investigations, analysis, the kind of stuff that really requires human intuition and expertise.
It's like AI is becoming a powerful tool to help journalists be more efficient.
I think that's a great way to look at it. And it's not just about text either. Generative AI can create images, audio, even music. There's so much potential there.
Wow. And then there's the whole area of personalization with recommendation engines. I mean, we see this everywhere online, like when Netflix suggests what to watch next.
Right. It's all powered by algorithms that analyze your behavior and try to predict what you'll be interested in.
So news outlets are using the same technology to tailor the news experience to individual readers.
Exactly. The Egyptian newspaper El Masri Al Yum, for example, they have a tool called Ask the AI.
Ask the AI. Interesting.
Yeah, it's like a super smart search engine that can sift through their entire archive of articles and answer reader questions directly.
That's incredible. So instead of just getting a list of articles, you get specific answers tailored to your question.
Exactly. And of course, the New York Times, they're always at the forefront of innovation. They're using recommendation engines to suggest articles based on what you've read before.
I guess the goal is to keep readers engaged and coming back for more.
That's definitely part of it, but it can also help people discover new topics and perspectives they might not have found on their own.
That's true, but is there a risk of creating these echo chambers where people only see news that reinforces their existing beliefs?
It's a valid concern. The design of these algorithms is crucial. If they're not carefully crafted, they can actually narrow people's perspectives instead of broadening them.
So it's a double-edged sword, I guess. It has the potential to both expand and limit our worldview.
Exactly. And that's why it's so important to be aware of how these algorithms work and to be critical consumers of news.
Well said. It seems like the human element, our ability to think critically and seek out diverse perspectives, that's more important than ever.
Absolutely. AI is a tool, and like any tool, it could be used for good or bad. It's up to us to use it responsibly.
Well, from what we've seen so far, it's clear that AI is already having a big impact on how news is created and consumed. Let's take a look at some other fascinating AI applications in journalism after a quick break.
Sounds good. I'm looking forward to it. So we were talking about the different ways AI is being used in journalism.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing to see how it's already changing things.
Absolutely. And one area where it's proving really valuable is in image recognition.
Oh, yeah, image recognition. I was reading about how AI was used to help uncover those illegal mining operations in the Amazon rainforest.
That's right. It's a fantastic example. AI algorithms were able to identify these hidden airstrips used for smuggling, something that would have been almost impossible to spot otherwise.
It's like having an AI detective with an eye in the sky.
Exactly. And it's not just limited to environmental investigations either. Bellingcat, they're an investigative journalism group, they use AI to verify the authenticity of images.
Oh, wow. That's so important these days with all the misinformation and fake images floating around.
It really is. It's a powerful tool for combating fake news,
Although,
well, it's not foolproof. There are always going to be limitations and the potential for errors, especially as technology evolves.
Right, right. So it's a step in the right direction, but not a complete solution.
Exactly. Human judgment is still crucial.
Absolutely. So moving on, we also have activity detection, which uses AI to track trends and patterns in real time.
Yeah, think of it like having a finger on the pulse of the internet. News outlets are using AI to sift through the massive amount of data on social media.
Trying to find breaking news stories as they emerge.
Exactly. Reuters News Tracer, for example.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that.
It monitors social media to identify and verify breaking news, helping journalists separate real events from all the noise.
That's got to be incredibly useful in today's fast-paced news environment.
Oh, absolutely. And then you have things like NewsWhip.
Newswhip, what's that?
So NewsWhip helps journalists understand what stories are trending online and gaining traction with readers.
Oh, interesting. So it's all about understanding what's capturing the public's attention.
Precisely. These AI tools are giving journalists valuable insights into how people are consuming news.
Wow, we've covered a lot of ground here. It's amazing to see how AI is being used to generate content, personalize news experiences, verify information, even uncover hidden stories. What does all this mean for the future of journalism? Is it a partnership or a power struggle between humans and machines?
That's the big question, isn't it? I think there's definitely some anxiety out there about AI replacing journalists altogether.
Yeah, I can see why people would worry about that.
But from what we're seeing so far, it really seems to be more about collaboration. AI can handle those repetitive, data-heavy tasks.
Freeing up human journalists to focus on what they do best.
Exactly. Investigative reporting, in-depth analysis, providing context, connecting with audiences on a deeper level, all those things that require a human touch.
So it's like AI is taking on the role of a super efficient assistant, supporting journalists and making them even better at what they do.
I like that analogy. Think about it. If AI can help streamline fact-checking, for example, journalists can spend more time interviewing sources, crafting compelling narratives, ensuring accuracy.
It seems like a win-win situation, at least in theory.
It does, but of course there are always potential downsides.
Like what?
Well, for one thing, could this reliance on AI tools lead to a homogenization of news?
Meaning?
Well, if algorithms are determining what's considered important or trending, does that risk narrowing the scope of what gets covered? Could it lead to a less diverse range of perspectives?
That's a good point. It's almost like we're handing over some of our editorial control to algorithms.
In a way, yes. And that's why journalistic integrity and critical thinking are more important than ever. It's about using AI as a supplement, not a replacement for sound journalistic practices.
We need to make sure that diverse voices are still being heard and that we're not just chasing clicks or catering to algorithms.
Exactly. It's a delicate balance.
So it seems like the role of the journalist is evolving alongside these technological advancements.
Absolutely. Journalists need to become adept at working with AI, understanding its capabilities and limitations, and developing a discerning eye. They need to be able to question the data and apply their own judgment to the information these AI tools are providing.
It's not just about learning the technical aspects of AI, but also about honing those critical thinking skills and maintaining a strong sense of ethics.
Precisely. We need journalists who are both tech-savvy and ethically grounded, who can leverage the power of AI while upholding those core principles of journalism: truth, accuracy, accountability.
You know, all this talk about AI and journalism, it makes me wonder about the audience. How are readers keeping up with all these changes? Are they even aware of how much AI is shaping the news they consume?
That's a great question, and I think transparency is key here. News organizations need to be upfront about how they're using AI.
So being open about the algorithms they're using and how those algorithms might be influencing the news.
Exactly. It's not just about adopting these tools. It's also about educating the public about them.
It's like we need a whole new level of media literacy for the age of AI.
I think you're right. We need to empower audiences to be critical consumers of news, to understand that not everything they see online is necessarily true or unbiased.
So encouraging people to cross-reference information, verify sources, and engage in those thoughtful discussions.
Absolutely. It's all about fostering a healthy skepticism and a willingness to consider different perspective.
It seems like the future of journalism hinges on this delicate balance between embracing technological innovation and maintaining human judgment.
I think you've hit the nail on the head. We need to embrace the potential of AI to enhance journalism, but we also need to be vigilant about its potential downsides. Ultimately, the goal is to use AI to empower both journalists and audiences to create a more informed, engaged, and discerning public.
You've given us a lot to think about. It's a complex and fascinating landscape, this intersection of AI and journalism.
It really is, and as AI continues to evolve, it's going to be more important than ever for all of us journalists, technologists, and the public to have these conversations and ensure that AI is being used ethically and responsibly.
Well, I, for one, am eager to see what the future holds. And on that note, let's take a quick break and then come back to explore some specific AI tools and how they work. We've talked a lot about how AI is used to create and deliver the news, but what about on the reader side? Like, are there AI tools that could make the whole news experience even more personalized for them?
Oh, absolutely. We already see it happening with things like personalized recommendations and AI-powered search.
Right, right.
But imagine a future where AI could actually, like, adjust the reading level of an article to match your comprehension, or
Wow.
even translate languages on the fly so you could read news from anywhere in the world without any barriers.
That's incredible. I mean, think about being able to understand those really complex financial reports or scientific papers without needing a dictionary or anything. AI could make knowledge so much more accessible to everyone.
Exactly, exactly. And think about interactive data visualizations. Like, what if AI could create charts and graphs that are tailored to your specific interests, based on a news story?
Wow.
That would totally revolutionize data journalism, right? Make complex information way more engaging and understandable.
Yeah, it's pretty mind-blowing when you think about all the possibilities.
It is.
But as we embrace all these advancements, I think it's important to be mindful of the potential downsides, too.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, how do we make sure these AI systems are fair and don't spread bias? And what about privacy? Can we have personalized experiences without sacrificing our privacy?
Those are like the million-dollar questions. And it all comes back to the design and implementation of those algorithms.
Right.
We need to make sure they're developed with diverse data sets and that they're regularly checked for bias.
Yeah, yeah.
Transparency is also crucial. I think users need to understand how those algorithms are working, what data is being used, and how it's affecting their experience.
It sounds like we need some kind of ethical framework for using AI in journalism.
I think so, yeah.
One that looks at not just how the news is created and distributed, but also how it's consumed and how it might be impacting individual users.
That's a great point. It's not just about the technology itself, it's about how we use it.
Exactly.
And I think this framework has to be a collaborative effort
Yeah.
involving journalists, technologists, ethicists, even the public.
Right. Everyone has a stake in this.
We need to be having those open and honest conversations about the potential benefits and the risks of AI and work together to figure out how we want to move forward.
Well, we've certainly covered a lot of ground in this deep dive.
We have.
From generative AI that can summarize articles to those recommendation engines that personalize our news feeds and the image recognition tools that help verify information, it's clear that AI is already having a huge impact on journalism.
It really is. It's transforming the industry in so many ways.
And this is only the beginning, right?
Absolutely. AI is constantly evolving, so what we've talked about today is just a snapshot of what's happening right now. There's so much more to come.
It's an exciting time to be following this field.
It is, and I'd encourage everyone listening to keep learning and exploring this space. It's fascinating.
You've given us a lot to think about, and I'm sure our listener feels much more informed about how AI is shaping the news we consume.
That's great to hear. As AI keeps evolving, it's going to be more and more important for all of us, journalists, technologists, everyone, to really engage in these discussions and make sure AI is used ethically and responsibly.
It's a responsibility we all share.
It is.
Well, this deep dive has been a real journey, and, we've only scratched the surface.
We have. There's so much more to explore.
But hopefully it's sparked some curiosity out there, inspired people to think about AI and journalism in new ways.
That would be fantastic.
So until next time, keep exploring, stay curious, and we'll see you on the next deep dive.